Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome to Boat Crew by Tabbing Tabby Software and published by Microprose. This game's in early access, although it is Microprose, so you don't need to worry about the developer abandoning things and then running off with your early access money. And in any event, there's also a free demo that you can download and play. The game follows the exploits of a PT boat crew during the Solomon's campaign in the Pacific in World War II. Do not be fooled by the cutesy graphics. While this game superficially resembles something like Bomber Crew, which is a good little game and is by no means easy, but in Bomber Crew the difficulty comes from micromanaging the crew. You don't do that in Boat Crew. A loader, for example, doesn't need to be told, go over here, pick up that can of ammunition, take it to that gun and load it, because he's a loader, he knows what his job is, he will get on with it without having to be told. This game doesn't have that level of micromanagement. The crew know their jobs. To a large degree they can just be left to get on with it, and they will perform their duties admirably. At the moment we're rescuing the crew. This is the tutorial, by the way. Yes, I know, a tutorial in an early access game. Wonders will never cease, and it's very good. At the moment we're just picking up our crew from the water where they've been... I don't know why they're in the water. They're in the water to show us how to assign crew to different roles. That's why they're in the water. Okay, so here we go. Crewmen climbing aboard via the scramble net. Let's pick up a few more crew and then we'll start assigning them to positions. So, there we go. That's not everybody, but it'll do. So, let's have a couple of loaders. Some repairmen. The skipper is already in the helm position. Let's assign this guy as a medic. Now I don't actually have any medical supplies, repair kits or ammunition at the moment, but don't worry, we'll cover that in just a moment. For now let's grab the rest of the crew and get everybody assigned to positions. At the moment the only armaments on the boat are a pair of Lewis guns in 2 turrets. They're not great. The Lewis gun was a fine weapon, but it's a First World War weapon. And yes, you can upgrade your machine guns. But you start off with Lewis guns. You can upgrade to twin M1919s in each turret, twin 50 cals in each turret. You can have a main deck gun at the rear of the boat, depth chargers, rocket launchers. You can actually give bazookas to the crew. There's all kinds of good stuff. But for now, we've assigned 2 gunners, 2 medics, 2 repairmen, 2 loaders, and our skipper at the helm. Now we're going to pick up some supplies, so we're ready to actually get the hell out of here and face whatever challenges wait for us in the open water. Note that as soon as you start picking up the med kits, the medics will start healing people. As long as they have available medical supplies, if anybody's in need of a med kit, they will just get on with it. Same with the repairmen. If they have repair tools and the boat needs repairs, they will repair the boat. The loaders will load the guns if they have ammo and the guns need reloading. This is not something that you really need to worry about, but you can, if you want to, use the right mouse button to highlight an area of the boat that requires attention. Why would you need to do that, Jingles, if the crew just get on with it without being told? Well, you might have a limited number of resources available and many different things competing for the use of that resource. Let's say, for example, at the moment, the PT boat's only armed with a pair, well actually 2 pairs, 2 in each turret, of Lewis guns, so machine guns. But you can fit a main gun on the open deck at the rear. 20mm, 40mm, twin 40mm. Let's say all of your guns are empty, you've only got 1 can of ammo left. It might be a good idea to reload the 40mm rather than the Lewis guns, in which case select a loader, right click on the 40mm. They will prioritise reloading that first. Similarly with medkits and wounded crew members. It's a horrible thing to say, but under certain circumstances, certain crew members may be a lot more valuable than others. You want to prioritise keeping your medics alive so they can actually heal other people, but again, if you're under fire and your gunners are wounded, you need to get those gunners back up if you only have a limited number of medkits back. So there is some element of micromanagement, but only when it's necessary. So we've recovered the crew and assigned them to various jobs. We've stocked up with some supplies and now it's time for the shooty bits. We've been spotted by a Zero. And these buggers are dangerous because they're armed with 20mm cannons and the PT boat is made out of plywood. So press space. Oh, get out of that thing's line of fire. Right, we've got the Zero, we've got one of the river patrol boats, there's one more. And we are only armed with machine guns, but they're just river patrol boats. Note that as the crew take damage, as the boat takes damage, the repairmen, the repair kits, and the medics are healing the wounded. So, our first victory, then we get to stock up on some more supplies, and now it's time to get out of here. But there's a large enemy patrol that has spotted us. Now, again, they're just river boats and small patrol boats, and there's not that many of them, but there is another Zero. And again, the Zero is going to be the big problem. It's lining up for attack run. I need to get the hell out of here. Those 20mm cannon can make short work of me. But I can make short work of them too. Fortunately, we now have backup in the form of a Corsair squadron, which is going to help deal with the Zero. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a number of option cards with a sort of segmented yellow bar beneath. You notice as I called in the Corsair squadron by pressing number 2, the yellow bar dropped. This is kind of our combat intensity indicator, and as things heat up, more options become available to you. Right now I've called in a squadron of Corsairs on with 20mm cannons to try to swat this really aggravating Zero off my back. We have 2 crew members down, 3 crew members down. Fortunately, we do still have medical supplies. The medics are going to get to work picking the crew up. I need to get to work taking out these boats. And it looks like the Corsairs have just arrived on station and are going to help drive off that Zero. So we've got one of the medics down. The other medic is obviously going to prioritise him and get him back up as I deal with these boats. He's bleeding out, you've got 20 seconds. There we go, the medic's gotten him back up. Okay. He's probably going to need the use of another med kit. In fact, a lot of the crew are wounded. And I am running very low on med kits. But I think we're going to be okay. Fortunately, there is another supply drop up ahead, so I'm going to grab those and then get the hell out of here. Of course, just when I thought I was about to catch a break, there's an enemy patrol flotilla been alerted to my presence, including a Fubuki-class destroyer. Yes, really. Now, those of you who are familiar with World of Warships, for example, might be thinking, it's just a Fubuki-class destroyer, what's the big deal? Yeah, I'm in a PT boat. This thing's on with 128mm guns. I do have enough combat resources stored up, to call in an artillery strike on it. But that's probably not going to sink it. And a destroyer is a significant threat when you're in a boat made out of plywood. So I really just need to avoid that thing and get the hell out of here. Now you get to see where... Ooh, slow down. No, hit down. Oh, and I've lost the crewman overboard. He'll be fine. Oh lordy, this is bad. So you basically just need to get the hell out of here. Even if I had torpedoes, which I don't, I wouldn't want to be going up against a destroyer. I mean, that thing's got 6 128mm guns, and a single high explosive shell from one of those things is going to be really bad news. So let's just get out of here. And that, kids, that's the tutorial for boat crew. And it's very good. It teaches you everything that you need to know. Almost everything. There are certain other key commands that haven't been covered yet, but they apply to specific weapons which I don't actually have on board the boat for this tutorial. So let's take a look at some of those in greater detail via some of the challenges that are available from the main menu. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going submarine hunting. There's an I-168 reported in the area and we're being sent out to deal with it. For this particular task, our loadout is kind of different. She's lurking in this area. The idea is to either knock her out or force her to the service with either of our 2 choices of anti-submarine warfare weapons. We have the Mark 20 mousetrap, which is a sort of baby boomer version of the Royal Navy Hedgehog. These are a bunch of shaped charged warheads that are launched ahead of your vessel. Now, I say baby boomer version not in a disparaging way, but because the actual full-size Hedgehogs would rip this boat apart if we fired them from a PT boat. They're spigot-launched warheads which generate colossal amounts of recoil force and would basically just rip themselves and the boat apart if we were using the full-size versions, hence these Mark 20 mousetraps, which are way more manageable. Note that the crew were also on with bazookas, because the idea is to force this thing to the surface and then finish her off mostly with the bazookas. Now if you look at the minimap, you'll see a red circle once we press V to actually take control of the Mark 20 mousetraps. There's a red circle ahead of our boat. That indicates where the warheads are going to land. So you get the red circle over the submarine, you press the fire button. We have of course been spotted by enemy aircraft, but we've got a friendly squadron of Corsairs overhead to buy us some time. There we go, shots out. They now need to be reloaded. The loaders of course are going to get onto that. And the range ahead of you at which the Mark 20 will fire can be influenced by the speed that the boat is actually going at. So if you want to give the gunners time to reload, try to get a second salvo off, you can just slow the boat down. Although with enemy fighters overhead, that's probably not such a great idea right now. Of course, the other ASW weapon that we have at our disposal are the depth charges. Now, for this, of course, we need to be right over the top of the submarine. Then you press B, and then you hold and release the various keys associated with the depth charge positions around the boat. And try to keep the speed up, because you don't want to be over the top of one of these things when it goes off. And we forced it to the surface. Right, so we need to press B again to get rid of this interface, hold down space, target the submarine, and then get close enough for the guys with the bazookas to do what they do. This thing, by the way, is not completely defenceless. It does have a 50 caliber anti-aircraft gun and a 100mm deck gun, so we're going to finish this bugger off with it really fast. Come on, boys. Also, enemy surface flotilla coming to the defence of the submarine, but day late and dollar short. It looks like we've done it. Yep, we got the submarine. Now, well, that's it. Mission accomplished. This is one of, I think, 19 different challenges that are available at the moment, and this is one of the easier ones. There is, of course, more to the game than even this. There is a full-blown campaign mode. It's based around the Battle of the Solomons. Well, technically, I suppose the Battle of the Solomons was a whole bunch of different battles, including the entire 6-month-long naval battle of Guadalcanal. But we'll call it the Solomons. Now, there's obviously not a huge amount that you can do to influence the outcome of the Battle of the Solomons in a PT boat, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing that you can do. To begin with, you're going to have to outfit your boat and your crew, so we're going to start by stocking up med kits, repair kits and ammo at various different positions around the boat. You have a limited budget of resource points available, so you have to spend it wisely. I would love dual 40mm Bofors guns, but all I can actually afford is a 20mm Oerlikon. But this is really good because 20mm cannon shells really wreck small boats, which is going to be the majority of the enemies that I'm facing, and they're a significant threat to aircraft as well. You can see that there are all kinds of different weapons that you can fit to the boat. Utility weapon, M2 mortar. You can stick an M3 anti-tank gun on the front of the boat and an M4 autocannon, but, well, we just don't have the resource points for that. You accumulate resource points by doing stuff, scouting out enemy bases, taking part in raids, assisting invasions, defending against invasions, all kinds of things. Things like sorting out from our base at Tulagi and scouting out the enemy base at Savo Island in the middle of Iron Bottom Sound. Now once you get close enough to an enemy base, hopefully without being detected, you will start scouting it. If you get spotted, you get the option of going into attack. So these are the likely defences. There's us against some light base defences. I can probably handle that. I have some better firepower now with the 20mm. Although I have made a serious miscalculation here. I wonder if you can guess what it is. Let's see who spots it first. Let's see who spots it before I did and took steps to address it. So we're moving in, and they are just light base defences. There's some watchtowers, there's some machine gun posts. AA gun emplacements mostly, nothing serious. There are no real gun batteries here for me to worry about. So we're going to get in there, start softening up the base defences. Oh, we've been spotted. Here it comes. Need to get in closer to use the guns, of course. Any second now, we should be in shooting range. There we go. Lewis guns are opening up. We took out a watchtower. That earned us some resource points. Something there. We're taking some light incoming fire, but this is fine. Just need to get close enough for the guns to start. There they go. Again, the Lewis guns are firing, but the 20mm is suspiciously quiet. Why do you think that is? I now have 3 gun positions, but I only have 2 gunners. I fitted a 3rd gun to the boat, a much more potent gun. 20mm is obviously way better than the Lewis guns, but I didn't change the crew loadouts before sorting out. So there's nobody actually manning that 20mm. There's a guy standing next to it. He's one of the loaders. He's not a gunner. I've got 2 gunners, 2 loaders, the captain, who's the helmsman. I've got 2 medics and 2 repairmen. This isn't that much of a problem though, because you can swap crew members around on the fly in the middle of the mission. So let's have a look. I'm going to take this loader and right mouse button on the Ehrlichen. He is now assuming the position of gunner on the Ehrlichen. This means that we're going to reload slower, of course, because now I only have 1 loader servicing 3 guns. But at least now I have some better firepower. There we go. Oh yeah, that's much better. The 20mm is a massive firepower upgrade over the Lewis guns. Now, we're not going to destroy this base. We're not even going to take over this base. We are just in a PT boat after all. But what we can do is soften up the defences. This is a raid. It's not an invasion. But a successful raid will soften up the defences and lower the capability of the base here at Savo Island to resist an invasion. And that may lead to an invasion. I'm just a lieutenant in command of a PT boat. That kind of decision is way above my pay grade. But as a result of this raid, an invasion may happen. And I will then have the opportunity, assuming I'm in the right place at the right time, of assisting in the invasion and covering landing boats as they go in to seize this island and take it from the Japanese. So you move around the campaign map, scouting out enemy bases, spotting enemy supply convoys, which I'm not taking on. Their escorts are way too difficult for a boat that is still at this point only on with a couple of Lewis guns and a 20mm cannon. But the stuff that you do around the campaign map, oh, there's a big old raid happening over there, for example, can influence how the campaign develops. Scouting out enemy bases, softening them up by conducting raids in order to provoke invasions, defending against enemy counterattacks like the Japanese attempt to reconquer Savo Island here, which we're going to defend against. Well, I was going to say with the assistance of a bunch of destroyer escorts, some tenders and some Fletcher-class destroyers, but I think it's very much the other way around. They're going to be defending against this Japanese invasion, and we're going to be assisting them. And while this is by no means a major naval engagement, it's just destroyer escorts and a couple of destroyers, it's not insignificant even. We are defending an American base in the Pacific Islands, and you do get a real impression of being involved in something major, even if it really isn't, just by virtue of the scale of everything compared to you. We can at least take care of the landing craft. I mean, that's not too much of an issue. And that's basically the game. Like I said at the beginning, don't be fooled by the cutesy graphics. There is a lot going on here. It is actually remarkably complex, particularly once you get onto the campaign map. You're going to be doing what you can where you can, at least at first, primarily scouting out enemy bases and conducting raids in order to gather the resource points that you're going to need to upgrade the boat into something a little bit more significant than just a motorboat with a couple of machine guns. But even though right now I'm a very, very small fish in a very, very big pond, I can contribute. I've already taken out the landing craft and any of the smaller escorts. Definitely still want to stay away from any of the enemy destroyers. In fact, even once I'm on with torpedoes, I think I probably still want to stay away from enemy destroyers because they've got really big guns and I'm made out of plywood. It doesn't matter how many weapons I strap to the hull of this thing, it's still just a hull made out of plywood. But you can help. You are not completely insignificant, even though you really are in the grand scheme of things. But the things that you do can make a difference. You just have to be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. So that's Boat Crew. It's still in early access, although there is a demo version available which is completely free. But even as an early access title, it is being published by Microprose, so you don't have to worry about the developers running off with your early access money and just abandoning the game. Hopefully I've shown you enough for you to be able to make up your mind about whether or not you want to get involved in early access, and even if you're not yet convinced, download the demo, give it a try for yourself. It is free, all it's going to cost you is a download. So that's Boat Crew, developed by Tabby. Never heard of them, and I think this is actually the first thing they've ever done, and it's pretty impressive for a first attempt. Hell, it would be pretty impressive for a second or third attempt. Published by Microprose, now available on Steam for early access or demo. Hope you've enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.